Welcome back to the channel. This is the big NXT review, baby. Hey, Scott Barrett, welcome back to the burning truth. Yes, more bit of that and stuff. Your big NXT review. And this week, it was pure chaos. We got Trick Williams and Oba Femi going from tag partners to enemies in record time. We knew they couldn't handle it, and they couldn't. Darkstate shocked the world with their debut win. Stephanie Vaquer says, bring it on to every top woman in NXT. And Ricky Saints, that man's got 4 hungry challengers knocking at the door with full speed ahead to stand and deliver. So let's get into it. As always, we'll just pick it bit at a time. And I suppose where I want to start is with Darkstate dominating and Trick and Obi falling apart. So if we go straight to that main event, because it was layered, right? Full on wild. Oba Femi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans, and they were teaming up to take on 3 members of Darkstate in the group's first ever match. Now, somehow, the result wasn't even the biggest story. So, right out of the gate, we've got Darkstate looking tight, to be fair. Crisp tags, no ego, all power. This finishing move thing that Dion and James did, where they lifted Evans up for a brutal combo powerbomb from the top rope by I'm going to butcher this, but I think it's Sashon Sugars. Anyway, it was a Shield level finisher right there. It was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it, to be fair. But where the match flipped on its head was when Trick and Oba, I can't believe I've absolutely butchered that lad's name, haven't I? Let me know in the comments below how you say his name. I think it's Sakon. Oh, God. Sugars, anyway, from Darkstate. The match was flipped on its head when Trick and Obi just couldn't hold it together. I feel like Matt Burns not being able to say his name. Tension boiled over. Trick wanted the tag. Oba shoved him aside. Then, boom, Trick tags himself in. Oba Femi snaps, and suddenly the trading shots mid-match down the aisle while Javon Evans is left in there getting isolated. And at this point, Evans pretty much fights like hell. Big frog splash, huge energy, but with Trick and Oba brawling outside, the 3-on-1 or even 4-on-1 with the guy at ringside from Darkstate, they absolutely made him pay. So it wasn't just a debut. It was a bit of a statement for Darkstate, this one. They're here. They don't miss. Trick and Oba, they're done as anything but total enemies now, leading to Stand and Deliver. And Javon Evans, the guy's got real heart, but he's walking into Stand and Deliver, as the third man and almost forgotten about within this story, which I think suits him really well because Javon Evans could absolutely pick up an upset win at Stand and Deliver. I'm almost feeling that. I don't know if it's a prediction yet. I might do a predictions video for Stand and Deliver, but I certainly think Javon Evans is in with a shout for that. What was the burning truth in this? But I suppose the burning truth of the matter was that the match was hot and the fallout was hotter. So Triple Threat is now full on powder keg. I wouldn't be shocked, like I say, if Javon walked away with the gold because the other two destroy each other in the match. What else do I want to talk about? Ricky Saints, title on his shoulder, enemies at his feet. So Ricky Saints came out looking fresh, confident, walking like a man who's just won gold, which in fairness he has. Last week picking up the North American title from Sean Spears. And the moment was his. And then NXT did what NXT does best and stacked the deck against him instantly. So one by one, we got Lexus King showing up with, that slime ball smirk that he's made famous. Eddie Thorpe dropped some real talk and one of the most eyebrow-raising lines I've heard on NXT TV, which was, when he called Saints another greedy white man. Yikes. Wesley showed up as well with backup. He was hungry for a run with the North American title. And then finally, Ethan Page strikes from behind with the twisted grin, laying Ricky Saints out once again. obviously looking to pick up the North American title. And then we get the classic everyone's holding the title camera shot, which was, I suppose it can only mean one thing, and that's the multi-man match that we've got incoming. And later in the show, it was confirmed. Next week, it's official. It's Ethan Page versus Eddie Thorpe versus Wesley versus Lexus King. And the winner will get that shot against Ricky Saints at Stand and Deliver. So a stacked lineup. But I'll say it loud. It's Page. It has to be Page. The way it's been booked, the way it's been targeted. Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page. It has to happen. Mark it down. I said it tonight. Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints at Stand and Deliver, please. What else do I want to talk about? Stephanie Vaquer, I can say that one. And she says, line them up. Fatal four-way, confirmed. Let's talk Queens. Not those sorts of Queens. Calm down. So after an already heated match between Jordynne Grace and Jada Parker, which, by the way, if you go and watch anything from NXT, go away and watch that. And that went sideways at the finish thanks to Stephanie Vaquer getting involved. Julia, and I tell you what happened, actually, it was Jordynne Grace went for a dive, got caught up in the ropes and hit the floor hard. Had enough about her, though, to push Jada Parker away. Jada Parker then landed very close, maybe clipping Stephanie Vaquer, which prompted Stephanie Vaquer to get involved, giving them both a bit of a smack. And then Julia stormed the ring, cleaning house, and then eventually dropped Stephanie Vaquer with a picture-perfect Northern Lights bomb just to stake her claim too. So instead of running scared or asking for a one-on-one, what did Stephanie Vaquer do backstage? She goes up to Ava and says, I want all of them, please. And boom. At Stand and Deliver, I'm surprised because I expected another triple threat match. I think I said last week, this seems to be the WrestleMania weekend of triple threat matches. However, in this one, I'm really pleasantly surprised. Fatal four-way, Stephanie Vaquer defending the Women's Championship against Julia, Jordynne Grace, and Miss Jada Parker, which, fantastic. No politics, no ducking, just a champion there with nothing to prove and everything to fight for. Prediction for this, for me, that Stephanie Vaquer retains, but it'll be a big test, I think, and it might just steal the weekend. I can't see Stephanie Vaquer and Julia both sticking around on NXT for too long, but I also don't think they'll go up at the same time or even slightly close together. So I wouldn't be surprised if we lose one of these to the main roster sooner rather than later. And that's why I think Stephanie Vaquer will win, because I think they'll move Julia up, soonish. I think the women's division on the main roster needs a bit of freshening up, and Roxanne Perez, Julia, they would definitely do that for me. So yeah, that's my prediction. Stephanie retains. Big test, but there you go. What else do I want to talk about? Tag team champs, Fraxium. Fraxium flew, and Swipe Right tried the best. That's what I'll say about that. So the tag champs, Fraxium, continue to prove why they're at the top of the division. And Swipe Right, they were a tag team that have come from the Evolve show. And they made a decent impression, actually. I'll give them credit. I haven't watched any of the Evolve show, but it was good. Baylor's Springboard X Factor looks sick. Fair dues. And Smokes has got that annoying frat bro energy. He absolutely has. He's got that sort of really annoying college kid attitude, which is really good for a heel tag team. And then Axiom hit that top rope Spanish fly. Frazier dropped a Phoenix splash, and it was lights out. The match was short, but it was clean, explosive, and exactly where it needed to be, really. Next week, we've got a tag team gauntlet, which was announced by the Street Profits backstage with Hank and Tank. And the winners of that gauntlet will go on to challenge Fraxium at Stand and Deliver. Based on that segment, I think Hank and Tank will probably win it, but it's a perfect redemption arc. They've had, not too much luck in tag team matches recently. Big Vegas pop. I think, yeah, let's make it happen. So it was nice to see a fresh tag team, though, and I'm looking forward to seeing Fraxium versus Hank and Tank, and even more so, I'm really looking forward to potentially seeing Fraxium drop the belts to Hank and Tank, because although I'm not quite sold on any of the tag teams in NXT right now, I'm a bit bored of Fraxium too, I think. Split up, go separate ways, get another lucha on the main roster for me. Get him up. Axiom, get yourself up there. Ray Phoenix needs somebody to wrestle. Chapter 5. That's interesting, actually, because Ray Phoenix literally wrestled Nathan Frazier last week in his debut, didn't he, on SmackDown? But yeah, I want to see Axiom versus Ray Phoenix. So there you go. Chapter 5, women's ladder match takes shape. So we've got this multi-women ladder match for the NXT North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. And we had these qualifying matches last week, this week, and then next week as well. And that's starting to get a bit messy, actually. 2 more names locked in this week. Sol Rucker, crowd loves her. I love her. Snow Snatcher, Soul Snatcher is an absolutely banging finisher. Best thing I've seen since the RKO. Izzy Dame also through, looked strong until she let go of the pin before the ref finished counting, but we'll let her off. It was a bit of a mess, to be fair, but not going to lie about that. But I mean, it was what it was. I'm sure it's fine. I think she just thought the ref getting on the floor was 1. So 1, 2, 3. She thought 2 was 3. So she started to roll back, but the rest still counted the 3. It was still the end of the match. So I'm sure it'll be fine. So far, the lineup then for that big NXT North American Women's Championship ladder match is Zarya, Kalani Jordan, Sol Rucker, and Izzy Dame, with 2 more to go in. Ava says there'll be no last chance match this time. But come on, the locker room's in too deep not to sneak, 1 more chaotic wildcard match in. And I think Roxanne Perez or Lash Vice would sneak in, or maybe even surprise, the ladder match. Potentially I'd do some sort of battle royal at the end just to add an extra person in, and hopefully it's one of those. Or maybe Roxanne Perez attacks somebody backstage before the match and takes their place. I don't know. But I can't see us doing Stand and Deliver and Roxanne Perez having nothing to do. That seems ridiculous. Everything else. What was everything else? Wesley versus Inamura. Good action. Bit overbooked outside the ring. Was okay. Right person won. It was, what's the word I'm looking for here? Inoffensive. JC Jane still spinning her wheels in NXT. Do I think she's better than Fallon Henley? Probably. She should probably be leading that group by now and motoring on. I would quite like to have seen JC Jane take the North American Championship, actually. But there you go. You can't have everything. But yeah, JC Jane, what's happening with her? Alexander Chase, if you haven't actually, we've got an interview with Chase on the channel, so please search for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. If you do, we'll love you forever. It's free. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the good stuff. Thank you. But we got that interview with Alexander Chase on the channel, and this week he was doing bits backstage where he was starting to, he didn't really want to help anybody, but people were asking for his advice, so he's giving advice. And yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to build another team, not Chase U, but he's going to do something different. And I'm all about that. I don't mind him being a manager for a tag team, or, creating like a small faction. There's quite a few of those in NXT, and I'm not mad about it. I kind of like it. So what else? Fatal Influence, Mr. Stone, Stevie Turner. They're all sort of just crowding the screen at the minute, aren't they? Fatal Influence. Fallon Henley better do something next week and get in this match. Otherwise, they've been a bit pointless over the last few weeks. And then Robert Stone, I'm not sure what he adds to the show at the minute. I'd rather just find something proper for him to do. Why isn't he wrestling? Have we got an answer on that? If you know, get it in the comments for me. Let me know why Robert Stone isn't wrestling, because he's not a bad worker from what I remember from his time in TNA. Street Profits cameo. Great touch. Gave Hank and Tank a fire-up speech, which they needed. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice surprise to see him on there. They didn't spoil it. I didn't know they were going to be there. So it was a nice moment. And I just thought this show overall felt like, although that was a nice moment, it did feel like it was a bit crammed in, so not enough room for stuff to breathe. But we're nearly at the finish line now. Stand and Deliver is coming very soon. The card's absolutely stacked. We'll get more clarity next week, and I'll be able to bring you that on the next big NXT review. Just make sure, again, that you subscribe to the channel. We're trying our best to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we'll love you forever if you can help us get there. I forgot where I was. That's bad, isn't it? But yeah, the show did feel a bit crammed this week. Not enough room to breathe. So, final chapter for this week. Top 3 moments. Darkstate's first win for me, and the Oba Trick implosion. Masterful story layering. Ricky Saint's promo chaos segments I also really enjoyed. Multiple title paths in one scene. And Stephanie Vaquer going full alpha. I'll take on all of them. Yeah, brilliant. Big fight energy all around. What for me didn't hit this week well, I hate to say it, but Izzy Dame's awkward finish killed the vibe on the moment, if I'm honest. Took the air out of the room. You could hear it on the episode. But hopefully it's a one-off, and we'll just have to move on from it because these things happen, right? It is what it is. And then mid-card overstuffed. Not every story needs weekly airtime, and it felt like we were just trying to get everything in this week. Like, we realised that we're only 2 weeks away from two weeks away from Stand and Deliver, and we need to get some shit in. So we just feel like we were stuffing £10 of shit in a £5 bag, as they say. What we got confirmed for next week: Fatal 4-Way, Paige, Lee, King, Thorpe. So Ethan Page, Wesley, Lexus King, and Eddie Thorpe. #1 contender for the North American Championship. I'm here for it. I would not be surprised if Ricky Saints was at commentary for that, or at least knocking about. We've got tag gauntlets where the winners will face Fraxi, and expect Hank and Tank to pick up a win there. And the final 2 Women's North American Championship ladder match qualifiers also next week. Plus, I think a battle royal for the women as well for that last spot. But who knows? Speculation corner. That was certainly. What else is in speculation corner? D'Angelo family versus Darkstate could be brewing for Stand and Deliver as well. A bit of a faction versus faction tag. I expect Ethan Page to win the 4-way. And I also expect Roxanne Perez to end up in that ladder match somehow. And that is the end of the Burning Truth NXT, big NXT review. Darkstate takeover, Trick and Oba Femi fall apart, and Ricky Saints is stuck in a shark tank with no lifeguard. Hit like and subscribe if you're loving these NXT reviews and this NXT run. I'm enjoying it. And let me know in the comments who's walking out Stand and Deliver with gold. I've been Scott Barrett. This has been The Burning Truth. Do what Matt Burns always says, and DFTBA, which in case you don't know, means don't forget to be awesome. Visit theburningtruthuk.com for the merchandise store. We've got some really cool t-shirts, including one that says, I've been Scott Barrett. This has been The Burning Truth, a big NXT review. Excelsior.